class. So we'll continue with our lesson on mathematical modeling with MATLAB applications. And this is now, we are now on chapter 2, I guess. This is defining the problem and the formulation of mathematical models. Okay. So definition of or defining the problem. So when one embarks on a research study, the first problem that he will most likely encounter is that of defining the research problem itself. So mawala siya ang that's the most difficult part of any research problem. That is, what is a problem itself? So how do you define it? So in research methods classes, we were taught that there are certain techniques for defining the research problem, such as, but not limited to, the following. We have extensive literature search, observations in the workplace, gaining insights from the experts, and among others. And maybe interest and curiosity, mo na maka-drive sa to look for an interesting topic or problem. But the key word that pervades all methodologies for searching the research problem is the question, why? So we are curious enough, we want to answer this question, why? So thus we can ask, why are some students able to learn certain mathematical concepts faster than the others, even if they have the same mental abilities, right? Or why is University A more reputable than University B, even if they are more or less in the same financial standing? So the first step to defining the research problem is to ask really the right question. So although there are many important and interesting topics to study mathematical modeling, one can apply the knowledge gained on mathematical modeling by focusing on one important problem. There's so many topics under the heat of the sun. But for us researchers, we cannot study everything. We only need to focus on certain areas wherein we are good at, or we are interested in, so we will be gearing towards that area. Okay, so not all topics will be actually pursued. So establishing the focus of the problem to model is very crucial. That is, by choosing a good model in the first place. So how do we choose a good model? Because choosing a good model for a study, that is very crucial. So these are basic questions and trivial for most people. But as trivial as it may look, there are basic questions on these questions must be answered and be given utmost attention, for these will serve as the foundation for mathematical modeling in research. So in this video or lesson, we will help you, or you will be able to select a problem that can be effectively modeled by this mathematical modeling. So consequently, we will be identifying good criteria that will aid us in choosing the most interesting problem to model. That is through situational analysis, that is via focus group discussion, literature review, or even gap analysis. Okay. So the first step in formulating a model is to do a situational analysis. So basically, the main objective of situational analysis is just to identify and analyze critically the problem of interest. And it seeks to answer the questions such as, is there a problem? And why is there a problem? Ano na may problema? And what are the probable causes of the problem? How serious is the problem? Who are affected by this problem? And what has been done to solve the problem? Now, an excellent way to treat and deal the problem is to do a focus group discussion. So which will be discuss later on. So this is very important focus group discussion, or very useful if, let's say, you have a pool of experts maybe, or your peers who share the same interest on the subject that you are embarking on. So for the focus group discussion, so this is at the most basic level. Focus group is just an informal discussion among a group of selected individuals about a particular topic. Okay, it is one of the research methods used which involves more than one participant. This is for data collection session. So due to this fact, focus group is sometimes referred to as focus group interview. So a group interview, or maybe a group depth interview. So this method is useful, specifically designed to carefully examine specific topic. So mostly kani mga problem is, let's say you have a problem on related to the environment, maybe climate change. Actually, topics as well in physics can be done using focus group discussion, wherein you brainstorm a certain problem. How do you attack this problem? Maybe in data science, it is also applicable. So there are certain elements that ensure a fruitful focus group discussion. First, there must be a discussion leader whose role is to steer ideas toward a particular goal. So dapat na a leader, and then the rest will just contribute and sharing these ideas. So brainstorming siya. Okay? So this focus group discussion has several advantages and significant features. First, the focus group discussion, or the FGD, enables an in-depth discussion of the topic of interest, which should involve a relatively small number of people. And one of the main advantages of FGD is that it is focused on a specific area of interest, which allows participants to discuss the topic in great detail. Next is we have this literature review. So the better route to the formulation of a research problem is perhaps to settle first on a topic. So sa may topic nga gusto studyhan. So what topic do you wish to concentrate on? Okay, this is not the same as the problem. It is in a sense broader than the research problem. So example of a topic, let's say the topic that you want to study may deal with is climate change. So you can further narrow the scope of the research by delimiting it to mitigating the effects of climate change. Okay, so you can actually use the power of the internet to search for scientific research articles on the topic. So that's technically how literature review works. So you can go to Google or googlescholar.com, and then you search for a particular topic, let's say problems in physics, say climate change, environmental problems. So you can search on that keywords, and then sa Google Scholar or Google, it will just show all those related results or pertaining to the topic. So you can actually download free PDFs on the full publication of a certain paper, or maybe you can just read the abstract to get a glimpse of what the topic is all about. So we recommend that you read at least 5 most recent researches on the topic, and also you download and read only PDF files because they are more reliable in terms of accuracy. So for each article that you read, take careful notes on and answer the following. What is the main thesis of the research article? So sa iyang main problem niya, what did the authors find? What articles are missing in the research? That's actually gap na dayon. Okay? Now, what is the function of this review or literature review? It resembles the content of the present investigation. So, investigate ka. It resembles also the methodology and sampling plan of the present study. And it actually used the same set of factors or variables as the present study. It is also your responsibility as researcher to establish that a literature or a study is related to the present investigation, and the review of related literature and studies serves several functions. Among these are: you establish a baseline of information about the topic of interest, and then you review you pinpoint the strengths and weaknesses of the studies conducted on this topic. Then you will be able to find unsa man ang kulang sa kaninga topic na wala na solved before sa mga previous researches done by these scientists or researchers. Okay, that's your job na dayon. That's our job as a scientist, to find on areas wherein we can improve this, find solutions and answers to this particular problem or topic that you are interested in. So, and then that leads us to the third type of how you can define a problem, that is actually gap analysis. So after exhaustive review on the particular topic that you're interested in, actually literature review, you will be able to find what are the certain gaps of, let's say, certain gaps wherein you can find a room for improvement for any research topic na imong gusto i-pursue. So unsa may nabuhat sa previous nga mga researches on that particular topic, and then what needs to be done. So that is where you come in as a researcher nga, okay, this is where I can establish my niche. Establish ni mga, okay, diri ko pwede makakontribute to the greater understanding, so deeper understanding of the topic nga imong gusto. Kasi makakontribute ka o maka-add ka additional knowledge, maka-enlighten ka. Okay, one example maybe is, let's say, forecasting earthquake maybe. So after careful research and literature review on the many different studies on earthquake, maybe naa kay gap nga nakita nga, wala pa din nabuhat before nga kani nga methodology, and then this new method will actually enlighten or give foresight maybe to an improvement sa mga existing karon nga methodology on as far as forecasting or predicting earthquake is concerned, which is wala pa man na siya karon. Let's say that is the case. So doing research actually is, you will not be starting really from scratch good, a very novel idea. Research is, you have to have a springboard wherein many people already have done this particular topic, and you as a researcher will just be able to, okay, from this standpoint, where can we move on? So asa man ta pwede maka-move forward so that this problem will be addressed pag yun. Let's say, dili man yun totally ma-address ang particular problem. It just keeps on improving. Okay? For example, ang weather forecasting, di ba siya totally nga ma-forecast yun, ma-forecast yun mo siya in 100% accuracy. But research, we as researchers, what we can actually do is just to improve on the accuracy, the level of accuracy. Okay, as more knowledge ang ato ang magather. So that's where we come in as a researcher. So review on the area of mathematical model formulation, we have our real world data, and then from that real world data we began to formulate, okay, what kind of model can I build or use so that I can mimic the real world data. So in this case, I'll be able to forecast, predict something in the future with great accuracy. Then after creating your model, you do analysis, you do mathematical conclusion, then you interpret, and then you also do prediction simulations, and you explain. Then the ultimate litmus test for your model, if it is true or close to reality, you have to test it back to what the actual real world data. Okay? Kung coincide ba ang imuhang model with the real world data. If it's not, then you have to reformulate again your model. So you do again your analysis, you do mathematical conclusion, and then you do again explanation, prediction, simulation, and then you test again with the real world data until such time you gain certain amount or certain level of accuracy, desired level of accuracy. As they've said, this is actually true, all models are wrong. So wala gi correct, right? Wala gi perfect. But some are actually useful. Okay? All models are wrong. Close na siya sa reality kung unsa. For example, the model of the atom, right? Actually, wala man gi sakto gid nga ang what we have karon nga model sa atom is just that's the closest kind of model nga pwede makadescribe sa kung unsa gid ang actual nga atom, right? Consider also the Newton's gravity model. So, unsa tong kag Newton's gravity model, na-discover naman to niya when he noticed nga ang apple is na fall sa ground, and then he began to think nga maybe the force that attracted the apple to the ground, it must be the same kind of force that attracted the bone and the earth. So, muna iyang model. Okay? So, how did he do it? He just analyzed it, and then he identified variables and factors, and then he created his model na dayon. Okay? But take note that Newton's gravity model is not actually entirely correct, right? Because this is just an approximation to the actual phenomena. So, it's not actually 100% correct. But this was actually corrected and fine-tuned by Einstein, wherein ang ihang model is much more closer to the actual gravity compared to Newton. Okay. So in the next few sessions, maybe next week, in the next few videos, we will now be focusing on specific examples on mathematical modeling. So we'll do mathematical model formulation, and then we will be also doing simulations, and it will be hands-on na. And then we'll be using MATLAB software to aid us in our calculation and our simulation. So advanced lang, you have to prepare your MATLAB software. I guess you already have your MATLAB software, and then you have to review on ang iyang command niya, on how to do programming in MATLAB language. Okay, I guess naka-grasp pa mo sa kung saan paggamit ang MATLAB software because we've done that before in previous 2 semesters, I guess. So just have to review lang. So just to remind you. Okay, next meeting we will be having an hands-on na dayon nga programming thing on, let's say, we'll be doing simulation na dayon on a specific problem. So maybe next week we'll be talking about the Bass diffusion model. Okay? And that will be very applicable to maybe applicable siya sa sales and even infectious disease, nga pag ang spread sa infectious disease food in, let's say, COVID-19. We will be doing that. So I will be studying that one. That will be all. Thanks and stay safe.